So Kaiser came back. He dove from the second rope into an uppercut from Butch. Kaiser rolled to the floor. Kaiser roll. Oh, I just popped myself. Kaiser roll. I fucking love it. I'm going to take a drink to that. You know, it's the little things sometimes. It really is. Sometimes it's the little things that amuse me the most. Oh, man. Oh, Swerve Strickland was at the Jaguars and Bengals game tonight. Big Monday Night Football game. And Swerve Strickland was there. They showed, I saw a video on social media. He was on the sideline. They played his theme song, which is quite the banger. I have been enjoying his theme song. But they played his song and he was dancing on the sidelines. Now, Prince Nana was not there, so it wasn't quite as good as it normally would be. You got to have Prince Nana there. Prince Nana was not there. He was the only thing missing. But you know what? I will say, though, Prince Nana, he showed me how to do the dance the other day. I didn't say I was very good at it. You kind of go like this and you go like that. I got a little education in how to do the swerve dance. Oh, Prince Nana. Gotta love Prince Nana. You know, Trevor Lawrence is not going to be doing any dancing, unfortunately. If you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, not a good night. I saw the video of what happened during the game. I hope he's going to be okay. But, you know, I saw Trevor Lawrence, and boy, you know, Tony Khan, he can't catch a break. Well, I mean, he literally, you know, he may have had a break, but can't catch a break with these injuries. First AEW, now the Jaguars. It's like there's just something going around. I don't know what it is, but hopefully he'll be okay. There was no CM Punk on Raw tonight. Let's just get that out of the way here right off the bat. No CM Punk on Raw tonight after his big promo at the end of the show last week. We did get a video package recapping that promo that we had at the end of last week's show. They did leave out the money line, though, from after the end of the promo when he looked into the camera and he said, "I'm here to make money, not friends," because that was an off-the-cuff comment that was not intended to be part of the promo. And so you got to stick to the script, brother. That's how it works in WWE. You got to stick to the script. So they didn't air that part of it. That was the best part of the whole promo. They left it out. Michael Cole, though, did tell us later in the show, after the video package aired, he did tell us that CM Punk is the most lucrative free agent in all of sports entertainment, because he is a free agent. He can bounce around to different shows. He can be on Raw one week, and he could be on SmackDown another week. I mean, hell, he could show up at NXT Deadline on Saturday if you wanted to. Why not? I mean, Jade Cargill showed up there, right? They had a whole throne for her to sit on. She sat there on the throne. CM Punk may walk out there. He may have a front row seat. Where are they for that NXT Deadline show? They're in Connecticut or something, right? I think they're on the road. Hey, Irens, you're going to have to listen to it a different way, brother. The sound off was tip-top. It's cutting off for you. It's the platform you're using. I don't know what to tell you, brother. It's on like 50 million different platforms. I would say try a different one. Make sure you don't get left out. But he's going to be in the middle of a bidding war. And so they announced that Punk is going to be on SmackDown this Friday night. It's their tribute to the Troop show. They're going to be live on Friday. And so CM Punk will be there. You know, they moved 1,700 or almost 1,700 tickets for tonight's show after Punk showed up on Raw last week. Punk came back to WWE at Survivor Series. He was on Monday Night Raw last week. And he was not advertised for the show, but they moved 1,700 tickets. Now, why do you think they suddenly moved 1,700 tickets? Because people thought that Punk was going to be a Monday Night Raw, and so they came to the show tonight. I can't imagine the fans in Albany were very happy about that, because they, in fact, did not get CM Punk on the show tonight. But Nick Aldis on Friday signed Randy Orton, who was also on Raw last week, was not there tonight. He was not on the show tonight because Nick Aldis signed Randy Orton to an exclusive SmackDown contract. And so I think it's safe to say that CM Punk will go the other way, and CM Punk will end up on Mondays. But Adam Pearce told Seth Rollins in a backstage segment tonight he wanted to come face-to-face, man-to-man with Seth to let him know that he has invited CM Punk to Raw next Monday, and that he intends to sign CM Punk to an exclusive Monday Night Raw contract. And Rollins said, well, that's fine, but when he shows the world his true colors and it blows up in Pearce's face, he wants Adam Pearce to promise to stay out of his way and let him do what he has to do. So the only question left now is, when do we get the match? Do we get the match at the Royal Rumble, or do we get the match at WrestleMania? It sounds like the match at WrestleMania. Unless they can coax Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement, which was the other big rumor over the last few days. And then that would be the WrestleMania match. Otherwise, and it's probably unlikely to happen, but barring that, it's pretty safe to say that the Night 1 WrestleMania main event is going to be Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. Now, it should be Rollins and Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble. That would make the most sense. And then you do Punk and Rollins at WrestleMania. But tonight, Seth Rollins was busy defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso in the main event. And they had a very good main event with a clean finish, no less. And then when the match was over, Drew McIntyre, who did some damage to Sami Zayn earlier in the show, he came back. He put down Jey Uso with a Claymore kick. He put him through the announce desk. He was throwing Seth Rollins around. The transformation has been complete for Drew McIntyre. The guy looked like a menace out there. So the heel turn has been cemented here. People booing him, beating up their favorite baby faces, right? I mean, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. Those are the top baby faces, along with Cody, on Monday Night Raw. And he's going around beating them all up. Sounds like a heel to me. And it's been a lot of fun to watch the progression of the McIntyre character. I've said before, he's been one of the most interesting parts, if not the most interesting part of this show. I wouldn't exactly call the Judgment Day interesting, although they've been dominating the shows. I think part of the reason I like the show tonight, less of a reliance on the Judgment Day. This has been the Judgment Day's playground now for months. And tonight, there was no Finn Balor. There was no Rhea Ripley. Fucking Albany fans, I didn't get Punk Orton or Rhea Ripley on the show tonight. But half the Judgment Day was gone, or almost half the Judgment Day was missing. It was nice. We didn't get the music. We didn't get the interruption. It was nice. It was a nice change of pace to not have the show dominated by the Judgment Day for a change. But that main event capped off what I thought was a very good episode of Raw tonight. It opened with a hot match. It closed with a hot match. 2 20-minute matches to open and close the show. And then in between, we had some really good, really solid tag team wrestling. With a division that feels like, finally it's showing signs of life. It's headed in the right direction. They're trying to get over DIY. They're trying to get over the Creed brothers. So in the middle, you had some really good tag team stuff. And then you had progression in the story with Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura, who were going to have their match on television next week. But this was a 180 from last week's show. Last week's show was boring. I mean, that's really what last week's show was all about. Last week's show was a bore. So it was nice to have a 180 from last week. And that was, again, without CM Punk and without Randy Orton. See, last week's show, the matches almost felt completely irrelevant. It didn't matter. And it was all about Punk and Orton, because those are the two big returns at Survivor Series. This week was the opposite, where the in-ring really carried the show. It was the matches that carried Raw tonight. And we'll go through all of it. This is your Monday Night Raw review for December 4th, 2023. I am the Solomonster. Like and subscribe. 400 likes is what we are looking for to be the booker, which hopefully we will have a chance to do. So let's hit that thumbs up. Super chats are open. Shout out to Lady Fire Panda. I want to say thank you not only for the super chat, but also for the 10 gifted memberships hours before I went live tonight. That is very much appreciated. So I mentioned how they opened and closed the show tonight. Very strong matches. Well, we opened, actually, with Drew McIntyre coming out for a promo. And he welcomed everyone to Raw, the land of liars, hypocrites, cowards, idiots. I thought he was talking about Washington, D.C. But they were in Albany tonight. He was talking about Raw. He was talking about the Raw roster. He said, everyone has lost their minds. You can be fired. You can be released. You can be fired. And then you can come back to the company and be instantly forgiven. And a CM Punk chant broke out. McIntyre said, I could be talking about anybody. It doesn't mean I'm talking about one person in particular. He recalled headbutting Seth Rollins. That was the angle they did in the ring last week, where he delivered a headbutt, and he headbutted the belt. So he busted himself open. But he talked about the headbutt and vented about Jey Uso and how he apologized to Randy Orton. McIntyre mocked him for tucking his tail between his legs and said that Jay's time is coming. And McIntyre said he was forgetting someone. Oh, yeah, Sami Zayn. And then right on cue, they played Sami's music. He came down to the ring. He said McIntyre had a lot to say about everybody and told him, hey, whatever you were going to say about me, you could say it to my face. Like Alex Riley. McIntyre said Zayn is the one person in the world who deserved to be screwed over by the bloodline. He said Sami was their errand boy, and eventually he screwed them over. McIntyre asked him, what did you think was going to happen? Sami said he thought he had a lot in common with Drew, but he's realized that they're nothing alike. And McIntyre was pointing the finger at everybody. When Zayn lost in front of his friends and family, he stayed hungry, and that led him to victory in the main event of WrestleMania. He got redemption, and he got to make his family proud. Zayn asked McIntyre if he thought he was making his family proud. And McIntyre didn't like that comment very much. He got very upset. And he called for a referee so we can get our match underway. And that led to McIntyre against Sami. That was our opening match of the night. And what a match it was. You had an angry McIntyre suplexing Zayn all over the ring. Fight spilled over to ringside where Sami shoved Drew into the ring post. Sami followed with a flip dive out to the floor. That took us into the first commercial break of the night. Coming out of that break, Zayn jumped from the middle rope, and he hit McIntyre with an elbow. And in doing so, as he came down, he started selling his leg. Like he had jammed his knee or rolled his ankle, or he did something to his leg. So he's selling the leg now. Zayn went for another elbow. McIntyre, though, caught him and hit him with a pair of back-to-back suplexes. Drew put Zayn down with a neck breaker, and he kicked up. And Zayn ended up clotheslining him out over the top rope. And so Sami tried another dive out onto McIntyre. But he got caught. And McIntyre hurled him over the announce desk. That took us into yet another commercial break. So after that, we had McIntyre going for a reverse Alabama slam. And Zayn rolled him up into a 2 count. Drew came right back, hit a spine buster, followed that with a power bomb for 2. And Drew put Sami on his shoulders. He was climbing up to the middle rope. And Sami countered into a sunset bomb, got a great near fall out of it. Sami set up for a blue thunder bomb. McIntyre stuffed it, dropped Sami with a Glasgow kiss. He counted down for the Claymore, but Sami cut him off with a kick. And then he hit a blue thunder bomb after all. He got a close near fall out of it. Sami went for a leapfrog. And he lands, and again, the leg goes out. So the leg goes out. Still able to send McIntyre to the floor, but you can see he was setting up he was going to run the ropes, he was going to hit another flip dive. He couldn't even walk forward. He tries, and he can't do it, and so he falls to his knees. Referee is over to check on him. McIntyre's outside. They zoom in on his face, and he's got these wide eyes, right? He sees this weakness. He sees this injury. This is his opening here. And he slides into the ring, and he catches Sami from behind with a chop block. And then he hits the Claymore kick, and he pins him. And as McIntyre was about to leave, he looked into the camera, and he told all of us, "The truth will set you free." That was a great match. This was a pay-per-view caliber opener. They went 20 minutes. The leg injury, it served 2 purposes. It served to protect Sami Zayn from having to take a totally clean loss, right? He can point to the fact that he was a one-legged man, basically. So it protects him, but what it also does here is it shows how ruthless Drew McIntyre has become. Because remember what he talked about in a previous promo with Seth Rollins. He talked about their match in Saudi Arabia. When they had their title match at Crown Jewel, there was a moment of weakness. There was a moment during that match where he could have had Seth, he could have capitalized on him, but he didn't do it. Seth was down, he's holding his back is hurting him, and he had sympathy for him. So Drew McIntyre says no more. There will be no more sympathy. There will be no more, worrying about other people. Now he's out for himself. And he's going to go in there and he's going to do whatever it takes, right? Again, it's all part of the transformation of this Drew McIntyre character. So no compassion, no sympathy. He doesn't give a damn. That was the point. So this was great. Now we got a video package that aired for Jey Uso. Now we got a UK listener in the chat, so we got to say good morning to Josh. Probably early morning, right? Where Josh is, what are you, 6 hours ahead, 5 hours ahead? Very early in the morning where Josh is right now, but everybody say good morning to Josh. It's like the kid coming in late to class, right? Everybody's already sitting down. Kid walks into the room. Now he's all nervous. Everyone's looking at him. All eyes are on him. And the teacher says, all right, class, everybody say hello. Say hello to Josh. Late to class as always. So we got a video package for Jey Uso talking about his World Heavyweight Championship main event here on this show. Later tonight against Seth Rollins. And it's a very well done video package. It recounted his main event with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam and what his brother Jimmy did, interfering and costing him the WWE Universal Championship. Jey said he had to walk away from WWE. That's when he quit. And he convinced himself that that was it. He's done. That changed when he got a phone call from Cody Rhodes. And Cody told him that he couldn't quit, that he had to be his own man. And Jey said the more he thought about it, the more he realized that Cody was right. He said that he had been fighting for various family members all throughout his life, but he's just fighting for himself now. Well, it's like his new theme song, right? Aren't that the lyrics to his theme song now? It's just me, Oos. Right? Day one ish, just me, Oos. That's his music. I mean, it's in his lyrics. It's all by himself, right? It's all about him now. Come on, man. So then he turned his focus in the video to Seth Rollins, and he said that he would prove to the world, to Rollins and to his family, why they call him main event Jey Uso. But there was something very interesting about this video package. At one point during the video package, they showed Jey Uso who's in the ring, and he picked up the World Heavyweight title. And he was wearing a shirt. And this was the image here. He's wearing one of his new t-shirts that says Yeet on it, but in the video, the image on the shirt, for whatever reason, is blurred. And I thought to myself, well, I know that's not the old Scratch logo, so that's kind of strange. Why would they be blurring out the image? Well, WrestleVotes says that Yeet has basically gone to sheet because WrestleVotes is told the WWE found some trademark issues with Yeet, and that the word and all merchandising around it will no longer be associated with Jey Uso going forward. So Yeet has gone down in defeat. Maybe Roman Reigns had Paul Heyman trademark it so that he wouldn't have to hear it anymore. Actually, that would be kind of funny if that happened. So if you want your Yeet shirt, you might want to head over to WWEshop.com. I don't know if they've already been pulled down, but if not, you might still be able to order it. That might be your last chance, so there you go. And for those wondering why they would blur it, is it just a matter of, as far as I know, I think that there is some company, I think, that uses the term, and I believe that might be why. I'm not 100% sure about that, but evidently, the Yeet movement has come to an end. So Jackie Redmond was backstage, hoping to talk to Sami Zayn, when Drew McIntyre attacked Sami Zayn. He wasn't done with him yet. And he attacked him. McIntyre told Zayn, you think you could talk about my family? I'm nothing like you. Nothing like you. You brought this on yourself. And then McIntyre stomped on Zayn's bad leg. Zayn screamed out in pain. Adam Pearce and some agents and referees showed up to usher McIntyre away. And they were tending to Sami, who was down on the ground. He was in great distress. Byron Saxton interviewed, or tried to interview, Becky Lynch. And she didn't really have much to say before she was interrupted. She was interrupted by Nia Jax, the woman who broke her face, and single-handedly sent her to the main event of the very first women's main event of WrestleMania. So there's two ways to look at that. You can be upset about that if you're Becky Lynch, or you could send her a gift basket, because if that doesn't happen, I don't think we get Becky Lynch in the main event of WrestleMania 35. So Becky told Nia that she still owes her a receipt in reference to the broken face from 5 years ago. Nia said, once I'm done squashing Shayna, I'm all yours. And Becky told her that, I can't wait. That led into the next match, which was, in fact, a Nia Jax match, which was coming up next against Shayna Baszler. How many fucking times over the last few weeks have they done this now, right? We had, I think it wasn't Aaliyah locked in there once before, and then Shotzi locked herself out last week, and so now she's locked in there again. I wish they would take the writers of this show and they would take Vince and Bruce and lock them in a fucking room. Lock the door and throw away the key. Let Shanky book the show. It'll just be the dance-offs up and down the card. We'll have dance-offs all night long. We'll have Walter. Let's have Gunther go out there and he can dance. Every match, right? We'll have the Usos dancing. We'll have Roman Reigns dancing. We'll have Riddle dancing. We'll have Shinsuke dances anyway. Pat McAfee's up on the announce desk. He's always dancing. Michael Cole can dance, right? 25 years. Let's have a celebration. He can start dancing around. Right? The crowd will start dancing around. The referees will start dancing around. Adam Pearce can start dancing around. Max Dupree can start dancing around. It'll just be one big fucking dance fest. I don't even know what I was talking about. Nia Jax against Shayna Baszler. Baszler was targeting Jax's arm, but Nia tripped her on the apron and hit a leg drop. Baszler fought out of a rest hold after a break, but Nia squished her head. Basically, she was over by the ring post, kind of doubled over, and she used a hip attack, and she sent Shayna's head into the side of the ring post. Nia then cut off Baszler's comeback attempt with a Samoan drop, and Baszler was able to avoid another attempt at a hip attack, drove Nia into the bottom turnbuckle, and then hit a running knee strike for 2. With Nia perched on the second rope a few moments later, Shayna brought her down with a German suplex. But poor Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, she puts her arms around Nia, right? And again, she takes her from the middle rope back over for a German suplex. But on the way down, Nia her ass landed right on top, it looked like, of Shayna's head. Basically on Shayna's face. And she looked stunned for a moment, which is understandable. And they showed a replay of it, and it did look like all of Nia's weight, her ass just came right down on top of Shayna's head. So I don't know if she's concussed or what, but I don't know. It just, she just couldn't get her fully over, and unfortunately, look, that's what happened. So, but she quickly shook that off, and Baszler came back and applied the Karafuda clutch. Nia, though, managed to she struggled, and she got up to her feet, and then she fell backwards on top of Baszler, and then Nia dragged her over to the corner and hit the Annihilator, and she pinned her. This wasn't bad. This wasn't really very good, but this wasn't bad, and they had Shayna. She was competitive with her, and there was a competitive match.
It's Samoa Bro.
Hey, Samoa Bro. Lady Fire Panda, thank you very much for the $20. I appreciate it. Again, I'm going to be reading all of your super chats. If you want it read, go ahead and send them on. I appreciate it. As soon as we saw Becky and Nia interacting, though, backstage, you had to know this was to set Nia up for Becky's next program, which was going to be with her. In fact, when the match was over, they played Becky's music, and Becky Lynch came out, and Nia quickly bailed at that point. It's pretty wild. I was trying to think of the last time that we saw these two in the ring together, and I almost didn't believe it, but there has never been a singles match between Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. At least not one that was televised, main roster. There may have been stuff from their NXT days in the early days, but no televised match ever between Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. And it was strange to me because you would think that coming out of WrestleMania 35, that would have been a feud for Becky Lynch. Given what Nia did to her, you could have had a championship program out of it. I thought to myself, did they not wrestle after that WrestleMania? But I forgot that Nia had double ACL surgery. She had surgery on both of her knees. And I think that was right after WrestleMania 35. So the timing just never worked out, and the two of them just never had a match, let alone a program together. So now we're finally going to get Becky Lynch against Nia Jax. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's something for Becky to do at least. Becky has to be near the top of the list. If you're going to make a top 3 right now of women who are the favorites to win the Women's Royal Rumble match in 2024, Bayley I would put at the top of the list right now, along with Becky Lynch. Those are your two favorites right there. It's either Becky or Bayley as things stand right now. Who else would it be? Right? There really is no other obvious choice. It's got to be one of those two. Now, things can change between now and then, but as of this moment, I think you're looking at one of those two women to win the Rumble. Now, backstage, we saw Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They were hanging around with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and they were wishing the two of them luck for their upcoming match against Imperium. Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser showed up, and they called them a lovely couple of losers. And LeRae and Hartwell mocked them and said they better impress their boss, Gunther. And after DIY left, Kaiser stressed the importance to Vinci of this match tonight and that they win. And Vinci slapped him on the back, a little friendly slap on the back, and said that he hoped Kaiser did the same. And that led into DIY against Imperium. This was 2 out of 3 falls. DIY set up Kaiser after the first couple of minutes here for their meet-in-the-middle finish, but Vinci saved him by yanking Gargano out of the ring, and then Kaiser schoolboy Ciampa while holding the tights to win the first fall. This was less than 5 minutes into the match. We got a Kaiser roll. How about that? We got a Kaiser roll. Man, I wish I had a drink with it. Well, I do have a drink, but this is just water. Oh, man, I would do a shot. Every time we get a Kaiser roll, I should do a shot here on the stream. Love those Kaiser rolls. So Gargano and Ciampa, they wiped out Vinci and Kaiser with dives now as we proceeded into the second fall. They went to a break, and Imperium was in control coming out of the break. Kaiser and Vinci set up for a spike pile driver on Gargano, but Ciampa grabbed Kaiser from the ropes, and that distraction allowed Gargano to roll Vinci into a pin to win the second fall at the 10-minute mark of the match. So back-to-back roll-ups. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why was this even necessary? If this is what you were going to do in a 2 out of 3 falls match, just have a regular match. One team rolls up one and they get the fall. The other team rolls up the other, they get the fall. Now we end up with a match that we should have had to begin with. So we got a trademark Giovanni Vinci double springboard moonsault. I still remember seeing this guy pull that move off for the first time. First time I saw him in action was in the Cruiserweight Classic. So when was that? That was probably, 2016? Probably. And I see this guy pull off this double springboard moonsault. And it just, I remember watching him thinking, why is this guy even in the Cruiserweight Classic? He had a look about him. He didn't look like a cruiserweight. And he's not a tall guy, but he also just didn't strike me as a cruiserweight. But he started moving around the ring, and it's like, holy shit, I didn't know this guy had that in him. And then I saw him pull that off, and that impressed the hell out of me. And so it was nice to see him pull that out here in this match. On Gargano, he went for the pin. Ciampa, though, broke it up. This led to a rapid-fire sequence of strikes with all 4 men, back and forth, and it ended with a tilt-a-whirl with Gargano planting Vinci with a DDT. All 4 men were down. The crowd were giving them a round of applause. Ciampa hit Kaiser with an air raid crash, and DIY set up for their meet-in-the-middle finish, but yet again, Vinci saved Kaiser. Kaiser tried rolling up Gargano again while holding the tights. Another Kaiser roll, but Gargano kicked out. DIY finally hit their meet in the middle, and they picked up the win. So, a very much needed win here for DIY, who have not exactly had a stellar past few weeks. I still maintain that I have no idea why this match was 2 out of 3 falls. I don't know. This did not need to be 2 out of 3 falls, especially if you were just going to have the 2 teams trade roll-up finishes, which are so played out, and they rely so heavily on them. And then you end up in the same place anyway, where they're 1 fall apiece off the same shitty finish. So this should have just been a regular match. But by the end of it, they had the crowd into it, and that has not been the case with pretty much any of the DIY matches recently. So it was nice that by the end here, the crowd seemed to actually be into what they were seeing. You know, more matches like the one we got tonight here, and I think that'll change for DIY very quickly. This was the best match they've had together since they reunited. They're going to have to... they're going to win these crowds over the more that Triple H allows them to go out there and to perform in the way that they did tonight, where they get to go out there and they get to do the things that brought them to the dance in NXT. We just haven't had a chance to really see it yet. But the more Triple H gives them time to go out there and do what they did tonight, they will get over. I believe that. I believe they will get over. As a babyface tag team, they will be undisputed tag team champions at some point in 2024. Can they get them heated up enough to, get them in the ring and challenge for the titles at WrestleMania? I'd love to see it. I would love to see Ciampa and Gargano go to WrestleMania 40 and challenge for and win the undisputed tag team titles. I think that should be the goal, to get them to that point where they could be believable challengers, credible challengers for the tag team titles. Otherwise, they'll just end up in the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown the night before. Backstage, the Creeds had Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods on their shoulders, and they were doing squats while Ivy Nile watched. After the New Day were back on their feet, Woods said that he messed up his wrist a little bit in their match, but he would be okay. Alpha Academy showed up. We had Gable, Otis, Tozawa, Maxine Dupree. Gable invited the Creeds to stop by for some training, and Julius said, it's okay, we have Ivy Nile. She's our secret weapon when it came to neutralizing Rhea Ripley. Gable had Maxine then perform some squats with Tozawa on her shoulders, so stealing Chris Statlander's gimmick. How about that? Meanwhile, elsewhere, inside the Judgment Day treehouse, or clubhouse, whatever. Fucking clubhouse, treehouse, who cares? R-Truth was trying to get an old mini television. They turned around, there he was again, and he's trying to get this portable television to work, just straight out of 1995. Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonagh, they were all very annoyed by this, and Priest said that he thought McDonagh was going to take care of it. That's what McDonagh said last week. He said he was going to take care of the R-Truth problem. And so McDonagh told Truth, you have to leave. And Truth agreed, and he said, we should beef up security. And Priest said, look, Rhea Ripley is not here tonight. Finn Balor is not here tonight. He gave Dominic and McDonagh a little pep talk about their upcoming match against the Creeds. You could hear the fans in the arena. They were booing. They were groaning in the moment that he mentioned that Rhea Ripley was not on the show tonight. These people were not happy about that. Boy, this Albany crowd, let me tell you, this Albany crowd really, in some ways, they got the shot. I mean, they got a very good wrestling show tonight. But in some ways, if they came for the names and they came for the stars that they wanted to see, no Punk, no Rhea, no Orton, even though Rhea was probably, if any of them were advertised, she was probably the only one who was advertised. But again, I'm sure you had some unhappy people in the crowd. Thankfully, though, they gave them, again, a very good show. So they should be happy with the show they got tonight. At least they weren't in the crowd last Monday for that show. I would have been upset if I were in the crowd for that show. Actually, I would have been upset if I was in the crowd for this next match. We had Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, who I do like very much. They are a very good team. Unfortunately, they did not have the chance to go out there and show the best of what they can do. They were in there against Natalya and Tegan Nox. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven joined on commentary. There was a spot in the match here where Carter and Chance, they were setting up for a double superplex on Rhea Ripley. My God. I still got Rhea on the brain. I mean, can you blame me, right? I mean, come on. Now, they were setting up for a double superplex on Natalya. Natalya slipped underneath them and slammed them both to the mat at the same time. It was a sloppy landing, though. More so for Carter than Chance. Natty covered Carter, only got a 2 count. Carter came back with a boot and then tagged in Katana Chance, who went to the ropes, and Katana performed a handstand on Carter's shoulders, and then they spun around so that Chance landed on top of Natty. They call it the keg stand, right? Because that's their gimmick. They're a bunch of party girls, so their finish is called the keg stand here, and that got them the win. I hope that that's only one of their finishes, because they have another finish, which is like this elevated double, like 450, or like the supported or assisted 450 that they do. That's really cool. It's actually a very cool finish. I'm hoping they have not abandoned it. I mean, I'm all for having multiple moves. So if they want to add another finish and now they can go back and forth and switch between the moves, I think that's cool. I'm hoping, though, they didn't just ditch the other move, because the other move is actually a very cool move. There were some rough moments in this match. This was not great. This was not great. But I would like to see more of Chance and Carter on TV. We don't get to see enough of them. And I just wish they had a solid group of actual teams that they could work with. And they don't. It's a dead division. So there will come a day where they become the women's tag team champions. And it's like, well, now what? You know what I mean? Like, they don't have anyone. And I'm talking like real teams to work with. I mean, they have Chelsea and Piper. They have Natty and Tegan that they stuck together. I don't know if they're going to start using Candice and Indy maybe as a tag team. I mean, that would kind of make sense. probably the best thing for them right now. But there's no division to speak of. So they make a great team. I don't want to say just split them up and put them in singles, but I just wish they had an actual division. And they've paid so little attention and have had such little care for the women's tag team division that there is none. I feel bad for these two. And that's probably a good part of the reason why we don't get to see them on television very much, because what the hell do you do with them? They'll be facing the same team every week. So they don't get a lot of TV time as a result. Cody Rhodes was out to the ring to address the audience, his people. And Cody said that the first time we saw the poison mist, or that he saw the poison mist, I should say, he was a little boy, and it terrified him. And the mist came from the great Muta, who got a few cheers from the crowd, nothing overwhelming. The people in Albany were not big Great Muta fans. He said he should have seen it coming. What happened last week with Shinsuke Nakamura, that is, when he got misted in the face. Nakamura's been dropping hints for weeks now. Shinsuke, you have my attention, he said. So there's two things we can do here. You could emerge from the shadows, come to this ring, and you could explain yourself to me. Or you can march down here and we could fight right now. He waited for a few seconds, 10 seconds maybe. No Nakamura. All of a sudden the lights dimmed and it was just one spotlight on Cody in the ring. And then up on the Tron, we got another video with Shinsuke Nakamura and the English subtitles as he spoke Japanese. He said last week he made Cody's eyes burn, but tonight he will open them. The path we've taken is the very same story. Like you, I climbed the mountain, and they showed his 2018 Royal Rumble win. And then they spliced in footage of Cody Rhodes' Royal Rumble win from earlier this year. Then they showed Nakamura going to WrestleMania 34 and losing to AJ Styles. Believe it or not, there was a time when AJ Styles was either defending or wrestling for a championship at WrestleMania. I know it feels like it's been so long. It was 5 years ago. It's been a long time. They showed him losing to AJ Styles, and they showed footage from WrestleMania this year of Cody Rhodes being screwed over by the Bloodline and being speared and pinned by Roman Reigns. That will be remedied in a few months. He said they suffered the same humiliation, a fall from grace with pages left unwritten. The devil in your mind. Oh, the devil. Uh-oh. Maybe Cody is the devil. There you go. The devil in your mind that whispers you'll never make it back there. But now you have awoken me, and I am here to unburden you, to step into your shoes and to take that story off your hands. I never got to finish my story, so now I will finish yours. And then they cut back. The video ended. They cut back to Cody in the ring. Lights came up. He said he appreciates the explanation, and maybe they had a similar path, but he doesn't respect him. It's never been his story to run from a fight. You keep saying that we're the same. Prove it. That was the end of the segment. I actually, I like that explanation. I like the way they explain that here. The similarities between the two, the similarities between their stories, the parallels between Nakamura and Cody from 5 years ago and Cody this year. Talking about how I never got to finish my story. So now I'm going to take yours away from you. And I'm going to finish it for you. Even though he kind of had that chance against Seth Rollins. And he couldn't do it. But, he's gonna take Cody's story away from him. It's a simple story. And it makes sense. And I like that they actually drew those parallels. And again, it gives Cody something to do. Although they've already announced the match. The match is taking place on television next week. So if it's a one and done, and I don't think it is a one and done, I'm not even sure we're getting a clean finish next week, then they'll have to drag it out to the encore, and they'll have the encore maybe. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do the match at the Royal Rumble. I expect them to be in the Rumble match, so we can get a second television match maybe at the beginning of the year. I don't think next week is going to be the end-all, be-all here. But it does give Cody something to sink his teeth into in the meantime until we get to the Royal Rumble. There's still a long time to go before the Rumble. Almost 2 months, just under 2 months left. And so he's already declared himself for the Rumble match. And again, we've had years in the past where people will wrestle matches on the Rumble pay-per-view and still be in the Rumble match. I don't know that that's going to happen next year. So again, my guess is we get a couple of matches on television between them, and I think that's fine. Again, it gives Cody something to do, and I'd much rather him have somebody to feud with and something to do than him just come out every week on TV and talk about finishing the story. So I thought this was well done, and I like the explanation. The backstage, Jey Uso asked Adam Pearce for an update on Sami Zayn, and Pearce said that they're still evaluating him, so there is no update. Jey threatened to go after Drew McIntyre, but Pearce reminded him, look, you've got bigger things to focus on tonight, okay? You're going to be wrestling for the World Heavyweight Championship. And Jey left just as Gunther entered, and he had a big smile on his face, and he had some things to go over with Adam Pearce, and so they went to have their discussion, and they cut away. They cut away before the best part. I wanted to know what Gunther had to say. That was the last we saw him on the show. We had the Creed brothers against Dominic and JD McDonagh representing the Judgment Day. This was the Judgment Day B team tonight. Brutus did squats while holding Dominic up in a delayed vertical suplex, and the crowd began to cheer. And I thought, wow, look at this, right? This team they're really getting over here. But then they cut and they showed R-Truth was halfway down the aisle. He was coming to the ring. The people love R-Truth, so they were cheering for Truth. He came down and took a seat at ringside over by the announcers. He had a Buffalo Bills WWE title belt with him. You know, they're really hawking these NFL logo belts. I don't know, did they ever restock the Jacksonville Jaguars belts? I know at first they didn't have them. So do they still not have any belts for the Like, what happens if the Jaguar, although after tonight they're not winning anything, if Trevor Lawrence is hurt? But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, the Jacksonville Jaguars win the Super Bowl. Probably have a better chance than the Giants do. Would WWE send them custom championship belts? Like, how would that work? Would Tony Khan, upon receipt, have them sent back to Titan Tower in Stamford? Would he refuse the delivery? Like, how would that even work? I don't know. Now I kind of want them to win just to find out. Anyway, Brutus, like I said, he was doing squats while holding him up for a suplex. Dominic shoved Julius off the apron, and McDonagh wiped out both members of the Creeds with a dive. That took us into a commercial break. Dominic tried the Three Amigos, but Brutus countered and hit a suplex of his own. Julius tagged in, and Julius went wild here. This was a crazy sequence here, because Julius tags in, he's handing out overhead suplexes, and he's kipping up after each one. And then another suplex and another kip up, and another suplex and another kip up, and another suplex and another kip. And this went on about 6 times. And I'm just thinking, man, you know, they're really tempting fate here. Don't just be careful here. You could hurt yourself here. Don't tear out a knee. But he's losing his mind, and slowly the crowd is getting into it more and more. Right? This guy's a machine. This guy's a beast. So this got over really well. Dominic yanked Brutus off the apron as McDonagh dropped Julius on his head with a poison rana. And Dominic hit Julius with a 619. He got a 2 count out of it. Brutus pounced Dominic, this was on the floor, pounced him over the announce desk before the Creeds hit their Doomsday Brutus Ball finish to JD McDonagh in the ring, and they scored the win. Like I said, Julius Creed. That's it. That's all I have to say. Julius fucking Creed. Julius Creed has a very bright singles future ahead of him. And we're talking years down the road. But he has a very bright future ahead of him. Taking nothing away from Brutus, but Julius just has that intangible about him. And I love the intensity and the fire, and he's still very green. Even though the Creeds have made a lot of progress, and I think they were ready to be called up, there's still a lot of inexperience there, but I see big, big things for him in his future. But his offense is really what got the crowd into the match, and look, it was a logical win for the Creeds over the junior crew for the Judgment Day. This was the Judgment Day B team. We already know with their win in Tag Team Turmoil that the Creeds are getting a shot at the tag team titles, which are currently held by the A team. of Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I don't think they announced when the match would be happening, but they are challenging them next for the tag team title, so it wouldn't have made any sense for them to come in here tonight against McDonagh and Dominic and lose the match. But again, there are signs of life in this WWE tag team division, and slowly but surely they're putting the pieces together. They're trying to give credibility to teams like DIY. It sounds weird saying they need credibility, but on the main roster they do. And the way you get credibility is by winning matches. Tonight was hopefully the first of many that we will see Gargano and Ciampa win. The Creeds, though, they have really protected them. I think they're still unbeaten since coming up to the main roster. That's probably going to end when they get in the ring with Balor and Priest, but they have done a very good job, Triple H has, of protecting them and just showcasing their strength and letting them go out there. They do these power spots. That's what gets over. Like, I think back to a guy like Ryback, okay? Because when I think of some of the sad sacks of wrestling, I think of Ryback. You look at the last 10 years for this guy. I don't even know what he does. I mean, I guess he has a supplement company or whatever, but he's always teasing about coming back to wrestling, and nobody wants him back in wrestling. So when Ryback first got over in WWE, obviously he was a big guy. Right? He looks like a big meathead. But why did he get over? They gave him the Goldberg push. He went out there, he did power moves, and he was beating guys up in short periods of time. And, you know, the next week it would be against 2 guys, and then the next week it would be against 3 guys, 3-on-1. He was winning. He was racking up wins, and he was doing impressive power spots. It always works. You know, it always works. They don't have the size of a Ryback, but you go out there and you do these impressive power moves and you keep winning, and that is a recipe to get over. So hopefully they keep going. And when they do lose, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how the crowd takes to them and how they're pushed after they lose that first match. I suspect it's going to be against the Judgment Day because it just, I don't know. To me, it would be weird to put the belts on them. They just got called up. It would feel premature to do that. Adam Pearce approached Seth Rollins backstage. This is what I talked about at the beginning of the stream. He went over to Seth. He said, look, I know you got a big match coming up. I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I want you to know that I have invited CM Punk to be on Raw next week, and I intend to sign him to an exclusive Monday Night Raw contract. Rollins laughed and said, I don't give a damn. He said, when Punk shows the world his true colors and this blows up in your face, I want you to promise me to stay out of my way and let me do what I have to do. And then he shifted his focus to his match with Jey Uso, who entered the picture at that point, and Pearce left. And Jey told Rollins he respects him for giving him the opportunity tonight, but he's waited nearly 15 years for this moment. And he told Rollins he was looking at the New World Champion, and he asked him if he felt him. Do you feel him, sir? Rollins laughed and says, yeah, I feel you. And then he told him, I feel like I'm going to stomp your face into the mat the first chance I get. Jey said, well, that's cool, because I feel like I'm going to kick your face off the first chance that I get. This is about as friendly as we're going to be, Rollins told him while holding up his fist, and Jey bumped fists with him and said, yeah, I guess it is. I talked about on the podcast this weekend, episode 837, when I was talking about the Punk and Rollins potential WrestleMania match and this feud that they're obviously about to engage in, because Rollins now, the second week in a row, has addressed Punk in a negative way on TV. They could go a lot of different ways with this. I don't know who is supposed to be the heel or the babyface when they have their feud. They could leave it alone and just let the fans pick and choose who they want to get behind instead of turning one person or the other. Or maybe there will be a turn involved. And one idea that I floated as a possibility here, especially, you know, you hear the fans chanting CM Punk now during Rollins matches and his promos and stuff. It might just be an organic thing where the fans are just going to naturally gravitate towards CM Punk. And it could turn Rollins heel. And one way they could go with it, it's almost like a 2008 Chris Jericho situation, where Jericho was trying to show people, Shawn Michaels, you know, he had feigned an injury in a match with Batista, and it was so clear to him that he was making up a phony injury and he was lying. just to win a match. He was being very sneaky. And yet the fans still cheered for him. He would come out and he would dance and he would pose and he was the big baby face. And it drove Jericho nuts. And he was trying to expose him. And he was absolutely right. And Michaels was lying and faking a leg injury. I believe it was a leg injury. But Jericho ended up being the heel in that feud, when really all he was trying to do was expose a liar and a hypocrite. And it could be a situation where Seth Rollins also is trying to expose a liar and a hypocrite, and the fans don't care. And they end up cheering for CM Punk over him, and Rollins ends up being turned heel because of it. So I don't know what their plan is. The fans may have a different plan. So it's going to be very interesting when we get them in the ring together that first time for that big first face-off. Who the fans cheer for and who they boo. Or is it going to be 50-50? Because the fans like Rollins and they sing his song when he comes out. I personally, I mean, Rollins as a heel is what I prefer, without all the cackling and the clown shit that this character tends to do. But who will the fans get behind? My guess would be Punk. But we'll see how they handle it when the time comes. But we did have Seth Rollins in the main event against Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Michael Cole said that Jey was dedicating tonight's main event to his uncle, Umaga, who passed away 14 years ago today. In fact, Umaga did die in December 4th, 2009 is when he passed away. And let me just say this. They may not be allowing him to yeet anymore. They may no longer be selling any yeet t-shirts, at least not once their current supply is all bought out. Someone said that the shirt is still up on WWE Shop. So they may not be allowing him to yeet anymore, but good luck getting the fans to stop doing it. There were yeet signs all over the place. And look, it's fine if the fans want to do it. They were showing it on TV tonight. They had plenty of yeet signs in the crowd. It's not like they were avoiding them. They were showing them. The fans can do whatever they want. It's just that they can't do it. And if they can't market it and they can't sell it, then they don't care. So I imagine at some point it'll just sort of peter out. But there were plenty of yeet signs and yeet chants here during this main event. Neither man gained an advantage during the first couple of minutes of the match before they went to a commercial. Rollins set up for a pedigree on the apron that Jey avoided, and Rollins tried to powerbomb him then into the barricade outside. He was going to do the buckle bomb, but on the floor. Jey slipped out, put Rollins down with a DDT on the floor, and that took us into another, what I believe was the final commercial break. Rollins sent Jey to ringside and then hit him with a suicide dive. Rollins got back in the ring to go for a second one, but Jey followed him and sent him out on the other side of the ring, and then Jey connected with a suicide dive of his own. Back inside, both men collided on simultaneous crossbody blocks, and we got a double down. Jey executed a running hip attack in the corner to a seated Seth Rollins, which Michael Cole said was in tribute to Umaga. Rollins came back. He picked up a 2 count off of a frog splash. Jey rallied. He went up top. He hit an Uso splash. He got a near fall. Jey went back up top. Rollins ran the ropes. He caught up to him. He hit a superplex into a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. This is where things really started to pick up here. Rollins followed with a pedigree. He covered Jey. Kicked out again. Rollins backed into the corner. Now he's setting up for the stomp. He's going for the kill. Jey avoided it. Speared Rollins. Got a great near fall out of it. Jey waited for Rollins to get back to his feet. He went for another spear, but Rollins caught him with a kick. Rollins hit a buckle bomb. Jey, though, came right back. I mean, he bounces out of the corner and just immediately follows that with a spear. And down goes Seth Rollins. And then he goes up to the top rope, hits another Uso splash, and gets a great near fall. Now, this was a very smart near fall here, because it all happened. It was so rapid fire. But I think because the first splash and the first spear didn't get it, there were a lot of people in the crowd who thought, well, this must be it, right? Because now this is the second time. And so when Rollins kicked out and they cut to a shot of the fans in the crowd, like, they looked legitimately shocked. Like, oh, they thought he had it. They thought we had a new world champion. But I have to point this out. He delivers a buckle bomb in the corner and immediately pops out. Totally killed the move. He didn't spend 1 second selling the buckle bomb. Apparently, it's not that devastating. Unless your name is Sting, it's not that devastating. Jey got to his feet first. Super kick to a kneeling Seth Rollins. Jey ran the ropes. He went for another spear. Rollins caught him with a pedigree, though. As he dove in for the spear, he kind of the momentum carried him into a pedigree. Rollins followed with a curb stomp, and he scored the pin. Little over 20 minutes to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. After the match was over, Rollins helped Jey to his feet. And they slapped hands. Rollins went to the ropes and celebrated his win. Jey rolled out to the floor. And Drew McIntyre was waiting. We didn't see him. He came in out of nowhere, but there's Drew McIntyre, and he drops Jey Uso with a Claymore kick. Rollins sees this, goes for a suicide dive. McIntyre catches him. He delivers an overhead suplex. And McIntyre picked up Jey Uso. He slammed him then through the announce desk. The table collapsed. And then he knelt over Jey's body and he told him the same thing that he said after he beat Sami Zayn at the beginning of the show. He told Jey Uso, "The truth shall set you free." They managed to pull out some dramatic near falls in a match that, frankly, if you use your head, should not have been that dramatic as far as the outcome is concerned. They had people convinced on a couple of those near falls that there was going to be a title change there. The question coming into this was never, is Jey Uso going to win the World Heavyweight title? I knew that Jey Uso was not winning the title. You knew that Jey Uso was not winning the title. The question coming into this match was, are we going to get a clean finish? Or is Drew McIntyre going to interfere and fuck the whole thing up? We got a clean finish, which I appreciate. It's the same thing they did when Rollins defended the title on TV against Sami Zayn. He pinned him clean. So we did get a clean finish here. And we did get, Drew McIntyre did come out, but it was after the match was already over. And then he laid waste to all, everybody. He laid waste to Rollins and he laid waste to Jey Uso. So they saved him for the post-match. And you look ahead now to the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble match should be Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight title against Drew McIntyre, one-on-one. Even though Sami Zayn and Jey Uso have been a part of this story as well with McIntyre and with Rollins. And there might be an idea that some might have to do a fatal four-way. And you have Rollins, McIntyre, Uso, and Sami Zayn. And you do a four-way for the World Heavyweight title at the Royal Rumble. I don't see that as being the match. I don't see the need for it because Rollins has now cleanly defeated Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. They've lost clean. There was no interference from Drew McIntyre. So I would rather have Jey Uso in the Royal Rumble and have Sami Zayn in the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn automatically becomes one of the favorites to win. I don't think he will. But again, he's a popular underdog who has talked about wanting to prove to people that he is a World Heavyweight Champion, which he has never been on the main roster. He has his own story. He should be one of the favorites. It could come down to him and a handful of other people. There could be some great drama at the end of the Royal Rumble match. Sami Zayn should be in the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso should be in the Royal Rumble. Because Jimmy Uso will likely be in the Royal Rumble. You could have Jimmy Uso eliminate Jey Uso. Or have them eliminate each other. Circle back around to that issue because you know that we're headed for an Uso versus Uso match at WrestleMania. And so you circle back around to that at the Royal Rumble. That's where they should be. The match at the Rumble should be one-on-one for the World Heavyweight title. There really shouldn't be any question about that. Look, the outcome tonight may have been the same for Jey Uso as it was against Roman Reigns, but he should take solace in the fact that the match he had tonight for the World Heavyweight title with Seth Rollins was a hell of a lot better than the match he had at SummerSlam. And it was. This was an excellent main event tonight. Two hot matches, both to open and close the show. We had some really good tag team action in the middle of the show. We had the Cody and Nakamura segment, which I liked. So overall, this was an excellent episode of Raw, and it was quite the turnaround from last week's show. A 180. Amazing. It should be like this every week. And that's without some big names that we're missing from the show. Punk will be back on the show next week. but he was not on the show tonight, and it did not affect the quality of the program at all. Let us go ahead here. Abusika says, Bukaki.
I'm the Bukaki ghost.
Oh, it's the Bukaki ghost. Look at this.
Oh my goodness.
Climax is posthumous.
Oh my.
Oh, what is wrong with me? Daniel Malcolm. Let the ghost out of his closet tonight. Hey, Daniel, thank you, man. Thank you. That's our $69 super chat there. Thank you to him and to Abusika for giving birth to the Bukaki ghost. Now, the people are wondering, what did he say? Here's the Raw poll. 75% thumbs up for tonight's show. 24.6% thumbs down for a very good episode of Monday Night Raw. With nearly 1,000 votes in, go ahead and vote at Solomonster. And let me know if you thought Raw, if you enjoyed Raw as much as I did tonight, as much as most people seem to have enjoyed Raw. You can let me know. One thing I want to mention to all of you before we go on here, there was a great match. There were multiple great matches, including Swerve against Mike Bailey. But there was a great Crown Jewel title match on the House of Glory show Friday night. And the replay is available for purchase on Premier Streaming Network. But the Crown Jewel Championship match between Charles Mason and Carlos Ramirez, that is currently up now. It is up on the House of Glory Wrestling YouTube channel. And I would encourage you all, if you want to carve out 40 minutes of your day, and it includes the promo video and the entrances and everything. The match itself is not 40 minutes, but the whole thing is up on the YouTube channel. It is well worth going out of your way to see. This has been a rivalry. It's been just building for 18 months. La Sombra brought into the promotion as his muscle, as his heavy. Right? Nobody knew who he was. And the match that these two had the other night is the wildest match that I have seen in the 5 years plus that I have been working for House of Glory. It was an incredible spectacle. And I cannot help but feel at least partially responsible for what happened here at the end of this match. And you'll see why when you watch. So go check that out. House of Glory YouTube channel. It is up for free. You get yourself a free match. Can't beat that. Good shit. All right. Daniel Malcolm, man. Bringing out the ghost. You'll love to see. Bringing out I just love how, the ghost, every time he pops up, it has to say on there, climax is posthumous. It's just quite the visual. It is quite the visual indeed. All right, well, we begin here with Lady Fire Panda chiming in with a $20 super chat. I think we just hit 400. I believe we just hit 400 likes, so we have hit our goal. So let's run up the score. Let's pretend that, we're a football team here. We're a varsity football team, JV squad. And we're going out there and we're kicking ass and we're winning by like 40-0. I want to run the score up. Let's beat these bitches by like 80-0. So keep hitting that thumbs up. Fire Panda says two things. I would not be surprised if Jade made her way to the main roster on the Raw after WrestleMania. Yeah, I could see that. I still think she'll have a cameo in the Women's Royal Rumble. Also, after the Hog Show last Friday, do you now swerve when you drive? Yes, I do. I am a believer. I swerve when I drive. Dr. Bropio, we started this year with Vince coming back to WWE and the Saudis buying WWE news, and we could potentially end 2023 with Punk coming back to WWE. What do you mean potentially? It's already happened. You say it like it's a rumor, like, oh, Punk might come back. It's already done. Dr. Bropio, was that super chat stuck? Was that stuck in the pipeline here for a month that it only came in? It came in a little delayed. Brian Anthony Rivers, first the Triple H Punk picture, and now the GTA 6 trailer is out. Hell has truly frozen over. Hey, Lashia Young just subscribed. Welcome, Lashia. Yeah, I saw the GTA trailer is only 90 seconds. But, I mean, when did the last GTA game come out, right? GTA 5, what was that, 10 years ago? 10 years ago, I think, right? It looks good. It looks like, you know, it's like a Bonnie and Clyde version of Grand Theft Auto. So it looks great, but it's not coming out until 2025. So you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Unless, of course, someone happens to leak the game again. It's always possible. Wild Bird with the $5. WWE right now is sticking it to AEW. How so? WWE positions CM Punk as a hot attraction to the masses. AEW tried, but their marketing team failed. So that's what happened. That's why things didn't work out with Punk and AEW. I see. It was the marketing team's fault. I see. Thank you for educating me. The real CSO2. If Shad was still alive, would you have loved to see Crime Time have one last run in WWE? In my opinion, there's so many great matches that they could have. I just wish that he was still alive and he was able to be with his family. That's what I hope. That's still a very sad story, but I'll tell you what though, JTG, you see JTG these days, man, he has completely rebuilt himself. It's like a different person. I wouldn't mind seeing JTG get one last run as a member of the roster in a singles capacity. Wildbird says, all right now, AEW has good quality wrestling, but it's not enough. If AEW wants to stay relevant and be respected, improve the marketing department. Boy, Wildbird has it out for the marketing department in AEW. Either that or he's angling for a job so that he could run the marketing department. I will say this, he says, the AEW Continental Classic is a good idea. Move forward, AEW is better off doing tournaments and leagues in 2024. A TV deal is needed. DEH Sires says WWE is releasing Ken Shamrock merchandise. Did notice that before I went live tonight. Ken Shamrock has t-shirts that are now up on WWE Shop. And so that is an indication that he must have reached some sort of Legends agreement with them, because those shirts don't go up unless he has signed some kind of an agreement with the company. And I'm very happy to see that, because for years it's like he's been blackballed from the company and he didn't understand why, and I didn't really understand why. And it's good to see that finally the ice is thawing and that maybe even at some point we'll get a little cameo on television. I'm not saying in a match, but just, you know, there's no reason that he can't be involved in some way, and he can't do legend stuff, and he can't do signings and shit for them over WrestleMania weekend. It's like, I mean, come on. I enjoyed Shamrock. I thought Shamrock was a solid part of that whole Attitude Era period. It was always very weird to me how he was just, you know, excommunicated and just never spoken of. So good for him. Prince Vegeta 95, since he's obviously losing his rematch against Seth and keeps on losing all of his big pay-per-view matches since he came back in July, do you ever see Drew winning a world championship again? Yeah, I think he will. I think Drew McIntyre will be a world champion again one day. Bleed Boston, $4.99. Oh, hey, JM. One of our legends is with us. JM is a channel member for 26 months. He is in Denmark, so it is morning there, so good morning to JM. I am doing very well. Did I enjoy the show generally? I did. It was a very good episode of Raw. Big difference from last week. Thank you, JM. But Bleed Boston says, what do you think is more likely to happen? Liv Morgan returns and faces Rhea at the Rumble, or Liv returns to the Rumble match in general as a surprise entrant? I think more likely that she would be in the Rumble as a surprise entrant, I think. I don't know what the status of her shoulder injury is, but assuming that she's able to be back in time, I would say surprise entry. Rodimus Prime, CM Punk chants during the main event. Hilarious. Well, I mean, Rollins brought him up in the promo backstage, so I think that's understandable. Retro KOH, after last week's promo, do you see Punk being a disingenuous heel like Jericho in early 2012? That's the vibe that I got from him. Oh, like when Jericho was coming out, not saying a word and then just leaving? No, I don't think that's the direction they're going in with it. Disingenuous, yes, but not like the Jericho thing in 2012, I think was just different. Christopher Smith, rest in peace, Yeet Movement. Tay the Savior, love the McIntyre heel progression, but do you see McIntyre winning the world title next year? Also, do you think McIntyre has re-upped his deal with WWE? I don't, because I think we would have heard something if he did. And the update on that as of a few weeks ago was, their feeling was no rush yet because his deal is not up until around WrestleMania time. So, no, I don't believe he's re-signed yet. Do I think he'll be a world champion next year? The question I just got before was, do I think he'll be a world champion? I think he will be. Next year, I don't know. I mean, I think probably not. I don't see it happening next year. But he's going to be around for a while yet, so I think it'll happen, just not next year. Hey, Halloween Man became a Sound Off superstar. Halloween Man, you're brother, you're a month late, man. Halloween's over. But I'm happy to have you here on the channel. Thank you for being a member. Isaac, did you see the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6? I did indeed. Lady Fire Panda GTA 6 trailer just dropped today. Coming out in 2025. Boo. Anis, what if the Bloodline is playing the long game and Jey is still Bloodline, infiltrating the babyfaces to one day save Roman's run title to save? Okay, he means to save Roman's title run. That's a clever idea, but no. Jey Uso is not in the Bloodline. He is not a secret agent for the Bloodline. GMB is with us. Rank these awful WWE years: 1995, 2009, and 2019. You're asking me to rank awful years? 1995, early 95 is the year that I almost stopped watching and stopped being a fan. So I'm going to put that at the top just because I came this close to stopping. Those are the days of the Allied Powers with Lex Luger and the British Bulldog, and they had the Blue Brothers. Remember Jacob and Eli Blue, BLU. They were the Harris twins. And some of the god-awful gimmicks we got that year. Alex the Pug Porto, which wasn't really a gimmick. I mean, he was an amateur wrestler, so. But they called him Alex the Pug Porto, and we had Duke the Dumpster Drozy, and we had Isaac Yankem DDS, and we had the Goon, and we had TL Hopper. Who am I missing? Al Snow was Avatar. Well, that might have been 96. God, those gimmicks were just fucking horrendous. Oh, we had Mantar. Of course. How could I forget? How could I possibly forget that we had Mantar? We have... Oh, so anyway, 95, I would put number 1. And then I would do... my God, I don't know. I would probably go 2009 and then 2019 and then 2009. Probably in that order. Christopher Smith, so Becky and Nia are going to feud before the Rumble, then Nia against Rhea at the Rumble, and then we get Becky and Rhea at Mania. So that's his prediction. I could see that, although that would imply that Nia beats Becky. If Nia then goes on to challenge Rhea, which I have no interest in seeing, but I could see it playing out just that way. Arabian Night, who do you think has the best entrance in wrestling in the last 5 years that gave you goosebumps? I still think it's The Fiend's debut entrance at SummerSlam. The Fiend's debut entrance against Finn Balor at SummerSlam was, it was great. It was like a weird experience. The thing that sticks with me is that creepy lantern with the mouth like stretched open. So yeah, that's up there on the list. But I mean, if we're just talking like the actual like individual entrances, you gotta go CM Punk debuting in AEW at the United Center. I mean, that's about as loud of a reaction as I can ever remember hearing. You could throw some of the big Austin ones in there too. I mean, how do you not put that at the top of the list? It's got to be Punk in his debut on Rampage. Savior Gambit, thank you for the $5. 10 years I've been listening to the sound off. Holy shit. It's a decade. It's a long time. Been training to be a wrestler over at Palmetto Wrestling Academy in South Carolina, chasing the dream. Well, you keep chasing that dream, brother. We have another one, Dylan, who sometimes pops in here, who's also training to be a wrestler. So I will encourage you, as I have encouraged him, man. Just live the dream. And wherever it takes you, it will take you. But I wish you all the best, and I would say keep us updated on your progress here as you go along in your journey. But Savior, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Barry MK, why did they keep the spinner belt as the main WWE title, but not the smoking skull belt? That's a good question, but they took the spinner out of the belt after Cena dropped it. So they did at least take the spinner out. I hated that design. And the fact that they kept it for so long, even after that Cena run with it, is, I think, just disgusting to me. Because now I look back, like when Punk won the title in the summer of 2011, and I remember like when he was gone for like 2 weeks, and then they crowned a new champion. Cena beat Rey Mysterio, and then Punk comes back, and I just remember the two of them holding up their belts, and I'm like, I wouldn't hold up either one of those belts. I would burn them. Like, I'm watching CM Punk hold up what basically was the spinner belt, even if it didn't spin anymore, and I'm like, it looks so fucking terrible. Like, what were they thinking? I know it's all about like marketing and selling replicas and shit, but what a bad belt to use as your top title. It just didn't make any sense that they hung onto it and clinged to that fucking thing for so long. The ugliest belt. Prince Vegeta was hyped to see the GTA 6 trailer. Been waiting over 10 years for the game. Wow, when you put it in those terms, Savior Gambit. The last time that Savior Gambit, or the first time, I guess, that he listened to the sound off and became a fan of the show, is the last time we had a GTA game. That's how much time has gone by between the two games. Wow. Did I see it, or do I care about picking it up when it comes out? I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I don't own a console. And it probably... I mean, my computer has some pretty good power. I play games on here, but a game like that, I think, needs to be played on a console, or else it might blow up my computer. So I don't know if I'll actually have a chance to play it, but I thought the trailer looked good. I thought it looks really good. Is it going to be worth waiting 10 years? I don't know about that. The Real CSO2. Going on 4 months as a sound-off superstar. That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. And I'm happy to have you. Daniel Malcolm, there it is. The $69 super chat. I'm an altar boy, I swear, but I had to see this in action. Love you so. Thank you, Daniel, for the Bukkake Ghost. Sweet dreams, says the ghost. Halloween Man, thank you for becoming a member, and thank you for the super chats. Got a couple of them here. Dark horse to win the Women's Royal Rumble is Sasha Banks. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think ultimately Mercedes is going to end up back in WWE in 2020. Now, I can't say for sure yet if it'll be in the Royal Rumble, although that would be a hell of a surprise. Having her in the Rumble and not winning it, I don't know about that. But I think she will be back in WWE sooner than later. I think that's still going to be the ultimate destination for her. Abu Sika, there he is. Daniel Malcolm, he says, a man of culture. I think Abu Sika just made a new friend. Wapatapa. It was great seeing Nikita Lyons on NXT. Oh, I'll bet it was. I'll bet. Manuel Macias, why is Hogan known for not so good reasons? Why is Hogan known for not so good reasons? Do I really have to spell it out for you? All the stories of all the politicking over the years. I'm not even counting the obvious stuff. I mean, if you're asking me why is he known for not so good stuff, I mean, is that a serious question? Manuel, thankfully for you, there are a ton of videos on this very channel. All you gotta do is type in Solomonster Hulk Hogan, and you will have a vault of content to go through. Your day tomorrow is now settled. You will have a full day of content to go through all of the Hogan videos that are up here on the channel. Christopher Smith, in my opinion, Becky or Bayley for the Women's Rumble, and Punk or Cody for the Men's Rumble. Also, who do you think challenges Gunther at the Rumble? Originally I thought it would be Gunther and Gable, and that's where he would drop the IC and it would clear the way for him to wrestle for the world title at Mania. Now Punk coming back has just, I mean, it's just blown up all those plans. So if he defends, I mean, we know he's getting a second match with The Miz. I don't know that they can hold off on it until the Rumble, because there's so much time left between now and then. He could very well still be working Miz by that point. I mean, I hope not. And if it's not Miz, and it's not Gable, you know, he's already worked Ciampa. Ciampa now is in a team. He's already worked Bronson Reed. If it's a babyface that he's getting in the ring with, I mean, look, would they do Sami Zayn and Gunther at the Royal Rumble? I mean, to me, that's a match that you save eventually for the World Heavyweight title. I think Sami Zayn could be somebody who dethrones Gunther when the time comes for him to drop the World Championship. I think I pitched that idea a few weeks ago on the podcast. So to do the first one for the IC title, I don't know if I'm sold on that, but the match would be fantastic. How great would that be? But to me, that's a WrestleMania match at some point. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking he might be working Miz by that point. Rumpelmane. Again with this now. Now he's into Xia Li feet. Before it was AJ Lee feet. Now he wants Xia Li's feet. She'll give you the feet all right. She'll kick you right upside the head. That's what she'll do. Boney.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
Samoa BRO. Joining us for the second time tonight. Boney says was looking at Julia Hart's entrance and was wondering why is AEW's presentation so much better than WWE. WWE is much too polished and feels inauthentic. I mean, Julia Hart has a great entrance. You know, her presentation is very good. I don't watch Julia Hart's entrance and think it's so much better than WWE. I think WWE is very polished, and there are times when I'm watching it and I wish it wasn't so polished. I wish it was a little bit grittier, a little bit darker maybe. But I mean, their production is second to none, and I mean their grand entrances are as grand as anybody else in the wrestling business. So when it comes to entrances and presentation for a character, nobody beats WWE. But AEW does a very good job when Julia comes out. I like her music. You know, I like what they are doing with her right now. But I wouldn't say that it's the presentation is so much better than WWE. I can't agree with that. WWE's presentation when it comes to stuff like that is excellent. AJ Allegiant, Punk could be a great corporate sellout heel. Doubt it ever happens, but it could be a cool way to heel on longtime fans and Punk culture as a whole. I always used to say that about John Cena. When Cena goes corporate, he's the corporate stooge. If they ever had the balls to turn him heel, and they didn't do it. Right? They were going to in 2012. They were this close in 2012. Cena had new music made. He had new gear. He thought he was going heel, and then they didn't do it, and that was it. That was the last chance. I mean, even when Cena came back for this most recent run, there were some people still holding out hope. Oh, he'll be heel. Like, Cena ain't going heel. That dream died a long time ago. John Cena is not going to be a heel. John Cena should not be at this point. That ship has sailed. That ship is gone. Manuel, what feuds do you want Cody to have when he wins the title other than Orton? Do you think Triple H gives him a lengthy reign? I am hoping maybe a year. Oh God, I don't think we need everybody to be champion for a year. I could see Gunther holding the World Heavyweight title for a year. Cody and Orton is the most obvious one. Who else would I like to see Cody work with? As far as heels go, look, we never got Cody and McIntyre. It looked like we were kind of heading in that direction, and we never got it. Now, if Cody goes to SmackDown, that would put them on two different brands, so we might not get Cody and Drew for a while. But I think Cody and McIntyre could be one. I think Cody and Gunther at some point. But if we're specifically talking about the WWE Championship, I'm trying to think of the SmackDown roster. You've got Logan Paul. That could be something at some point. Cody and KO. KO maybe were to go heel again at some point. Cody and Santos Escobar. Now, there's a lot of potentially great, fresh matches for him on that brand. But we don't know how the draft might affect things. If we assume there's going to be a draft every year, we had one in May. Cody's going to win the belt. Let's say if he wins the belt in April, they're going to have a draft the very next month. The whole SmackDown roster could look different by the time we get there. There could be a lot of Raw talents right now and some new NXT talents on SmackDown. I'll tell you one name that I think should already be on the main roster and isn't, but I think will be in 2024 for sure, and that's Braun Breaker. And you're not going to call him up and put him in a title feud right away, but you start building him up as like a monster heel. Braun Breaker and Cody Rhodes. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be great. Rumpelmane, Nikki Crossfeet. Lady Fire Panda, would you be open to having a Be the Booker Clips channel? Basically, you or someone else uploads full Be the Booker segments to YouTube. No, I think they're good right here as part of these reviews. Maybe at some point I could put something together for the channel here, maybe for members or something, but I mean, it's a lot of work. And I think it's fine the way it is. Daniel Malcolm, oh, they're done with Yeet. Roman wins again. Yes, Roman Reigns gets what he wants. I said he hired Paul Heyman to squash it once and for all. Why, he's the wise man. Arabian Night, in case the fans rebel by having Cody win the Royal Rumble twice, could you see Roman in the Bloodline costing him the match, thus creating more sympathy for him to chase? Yeah, absolutely. I can see the Bloodline costing him. They don't want to deal with Cody Rhodes. We saw Roman's reaction when Cody was on SmackDown a few months ago, right? He wasn't very happy about it. That's how we got the stare down between the two of them. Maybe he, has Solo Sikoa screw Cody over for a second time. He pulls him out of the ring, right? Very possible. Halloween Man, my Avi is Danielle Harris and Scout from Halloween. Missed opportunity there with Halloween 4 coming out of the end of that movie with Danielle Harris. If you know, you know. There was a fun storyline direction there that they could have taken, and they chose not to do it. And Based Beerus, God of Seduction, I got my Red Skull tonight. 2010, Edge and CM Punk were traded from one brand to another in a random trade in the fall. This year, they swapped again. Holy shit, you're right. Edge went to AEW, Punk came over and went to WWE. We got another trade. But congrats to Base Beerus, who now has a Red Skull. He is a Red Skull channel member. What is the Red Skull is what? 12 months, right? I think the Red Skull is it the Red Skull is 12 months and the gold is 24? Is that what it is? I should know this. Anyway, Base Beerus, thank you very much. Everybody, thank you very much. Appreciate all of the support. Very much so. So I mentioned before that we hit the goal. The goal tonight for Be the Booker was 400, and we are currently sitting at 442. So we are on our way to 450 likes. And we're going to do Be the Booker here in a moment. By the way, you know, Edge and Christian are having a match this Wednesday. And I'll be live on YouTube for the Dynamite review after to talk about it because AEW is making their Montreal debut on Wednesday. And so we are getting Adam Copeland and Christian Cage for the TNT Championship on Wednesday night. The first of what I'm sure will be at least 2, if not 3 matches between them. But I think that's going to be a lot of fun because you know how special that's got to be to the two of them, right? Being able to wrestle each other in Canada. I'm sure they're going to go out there and, you know, Tony Khan does not advertise matches like a big match like this and not deliver. So I don't think it's an angle. I think we're going to get a match. Do I think we're going to get a clean finish? No. Remember what I talked about? Nick Wayne's mom, Shayna, I think her name is, right? Keep an eye on her. Because if she goes heel and helps Christian win, you heard it here first. I mentioned that 2 weeks ago. I still think there's a very good chance that'll end up happening. But before we get to Be the Booker here, got a couple more classic sound-off moments here on the channel for you to take a look at. It's time to hit the beach. Tony Khan gets custom TNT belts made to reduce the transmission of diseases. That's right. Tony Khan does not want sexually transmitted diseases going around and spreading around the locker room. I mean, for God's sakes, what if Sting were to win the TNT championship? 63 years old, the man goes home and gives his wife gonorrhea because he got it off the TNT title. Can you imagine? You can't give Sting gonorrhea. Or the clap.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
Oh my goodness, definitely do not want to give Sting gonorrhea. What a horrible retirement gift that would be. As he prepares to leave AEW. Can you imagine Sting goes home and gives his wife the clap? How awful would that be? Come on. You've got to sanitize those titles. You've got to keep it clean. Don't want Sting to get sick. He's a senior citizen now, you know. All right, time to Be the Booker. We are going to book ourselves a tag team match to kick things off. As the tag team division in WWE begins to heat up, we like to kick things off here with some tag team matches. And so we begin here with the Unholy Alliance, as they were called. Kane, Big Show. I don't know why I said that, but Undertaker and Big Show. There you go. The Unholy Alliance. And they are going to be taking on MSK. Well, poor MSK, Wesley and Nash Carter are going to be thoroughly destroyed. But MSK is great, and I feel like two smaller guys like that, the way they work, the way they'll be bouncing off Undertaker and Big Show in that match, I think would be fun to watch. There you go. MSK and the Unholy Alliance. What a weird match. Okay. See how we do on the women's side here. Here we are. We're talking about the Women's Royal Rumble and who's going to wrestle who. Let's see. Let's see what we come up with here. Huh? We begin with the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. This is already a winner. Already a winner. There you go. Rhea Ripley going to be defending her Women's World Championship. Good start. This is a great start. Defending her Women's World title against Jamie Hayter. Oh, my goodness. Now I'm disappointed that we're never going to see this match. Well, you know, never say never. Never say never. Jamie Hayter one day in WWE, I could see it. Rhea Ripley going to the AEW Women's Division? I don't think so. But Jamie Hayter in WWE one day wrestling Rhea Ripley, that's a WrestleMania match right there. Fuck yeah, it is. That's why we do Be the Booker. To set matches up like that. Gonna be a lot of black and blues all over their bodies when that match is over. Okay, main event time. Here we go. It all comes down to this. Can we go 3 for 3? That's what we're aiming for. Can we go? Oh, we're well on our way here. The former NXT United Kingdom and reigning NXT champion Ilya Dragunov is kicking things off here in Be the Booker. And who is Ilya Dragunov going to be stepping into the ring with? It will be the American Badass Undertaker. Ilya Dragunov and the American Badass. I was contemplating this for a second, but we all know that would be a very good match. Undertaker and Ilya Dragunov. We've seen Undertaker have great matches with a lot of smaller opponents. Why would Dragunov be any different? There you go. Clean sweep, baby. That's what I like to see. When I do Be the Booker, this is the kind of thing that I like to see. When we go 3 for 3. That booking, that's right. That booking is on point. That booking is on point. Hey, Dr. Bropio, thank you for the super chat. He says, just watched Survivor Series. Yeah, that's right. Undertaker twice. That's right. Undertaker, we got him twice in Be the Booker. But it was two different Undertakers. You had the Ministry and you had the American Badass. Dr. Bropio says, just watched Survivor Series and was shocked to see CM Punk come back to WWE again. Don't know why people calling him a hypocrite for this. Yeah, unfortunately, Dr. Bropio suffered a coma a few weeks ago and only just woke up. He's a little behind. Arabian Night, Cross returns to SmackDown just to lose. I guess no push. Yeah, I said the other day, if you think Karrion Kross is winning that U.S. title tournament, then the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl this year. And Thunder Force, with Rey Mysterio looking to be working with Santos Escobar at WrestleMania, where do you think that leaves Dominic? I don't know. I don't know where that leaves Dominic. As far as, I'm looking at the Raw roster right now, and it's always Judgment Day connected to the top stars like Cody and Jey and Sami. Sami would be the only one who maybe wouldn't be accounted for WrestleMania. But to do Sami and Dominic, I don't want to keep seeing the same people over and over again. So what else Dominic would be involved in, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I have to look at the rosters and see who else is not really accounted for. Devin, channel member for 31 months. Better Undertaker return, Judgment Day 2000 or Survivor Series 2005? Judgment Day 2000. Judgment Day 2000. That was in Louisville, and that was one of the loudest, greatest return saves that I've ever seen. Those people were losing their ever-loving minds. The building was literally shaking. The hard cam was shaking. As the seconds ticked away in the Iron Man match, it was just great drama. It's just great drama. Base Beerus, Randy never avenged the loss to Lesnar at SummerSlam. Well, I'll tell you what, the way Lesnar opened him up, he shouldn't be in any rush to get back into the ring with him. Unless he wants to be back on the shelf for another 18 months. But Brock Lesnar is another one. He's going to be coming back soon. And unless they're going to do Gunther and Lesnar, what else would you have Brock Lesnar doing at WrestleMania? Randy Orton doesn't have an obvious WrestleMania opponent. He may be onto something here. Base Beerus could be onto something here. If Randy doesn't have an opponent, if Brock doesn't have an opponent, would they run that one back? And who would be the babyface and who would be the heel? Judgment Day against New Day with the returning Big E at WrestleMania 40. I don't think we're going to be seeing Big E back in the ring. I'm just happy that Big E is happy and healthy otherwise and is able to do everything else that he normally does in his life. And if he can't come back to the ring, that's a shame, but I'm just glad that he's able to walk and function and work out and do all the things he normally would do, because that was a very, very scary injury. And there are a lot of people who are not as lucky as him. Actually, Bryan just suggested a very good idea. Brock against Dominic. There you go. Brock Lesnar and Dominic Mysterio. Didn't Dominic get involved in Ray's match against Brock at Survivor Series in 2019? I think Brock threw him around a little bit, in fact. I think Brock's already gotten his hands on Dominic before when he was a little punk. He's still a little punk. Brock and Dominic, you know what? I can get behind that. I could get behind that. When do I think Orton will turn heel? When we get closer to SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam, I look ahead to SummerSlam and I see SummerSlam, to me, this far out, is probably Roman and Punk, which Sports Illustrated was talking about this week, and Cody and Orton. And I think those might be your top two world title matches. Cody and Orton, Roman and Punk, and then it's so tough though. I mean, if Gunther is either world champion already or wins the world title maybe at SummerSlam, I could see that. But you also got that Bash of Berlin coming up around that time, right? I think Bash in Berlin might be the very end of August, I think. Roman will still be champion by SummerSlam. A pox on you for saying that. No, he won't. No, he won't. I don't even want to hear that suggested. All right, well, this has been good. A lot of good questions here. I will be back with you on Wednesday night. We're going to be talking about Dynamite live in Montreal. We have Copeland and Christian for the TNT title. We have 3 more matches in the Continental Classic Gold League. Swerve. I think Swerve is wrestling Jay Lethal. But we have that tournament continuing. And I believe Toni Storm is supposed to be defending her world title, her women's world title, against Sky Blue. So those are the matches that are currently set for Wednesday night. And we'll talk about all of it. Turtlehead coming in late with $1.99. What if Randy ties 16? And it is him against Cena for 17. I pitched that as an idea for WrestleMania 40. This was obviously a while back. I didn't realize Orton was going to be on the shelf for 18 months. I thought WrestleMania 40 as an attraction, they could maybe do that. Could we still get that? We could. Orton is at 14, though. So it feels like if they were to do it, it's years away. Like maybe we're talking WrestleMania 41, 42. I'm pretty sure Randy is at 14. So we're not there yet. He's got to win a couple more titles, then they're tied, and then you can do that. I do think before they call it quits, we'll get at least one more John Cena, Randy Orton match. Just to tie things up as far as their storied history is concerned. Base Beer says the TNT title is small. It looks like a toy. Good. It's not the world title. The world title should be the biggest belt in the company. I think the size is fine. It's not my favorite belt. I've seen worse. I think it's just lazy. It's just the letters TNT in a very basic font. I mean, it's fine. It's far from the best belt in wrestling, but the AEW world title is the best belt in the company, and as it should be. Right? That should be the way it is in every company. Do we really need Cena against Sikoa at WrestleMania 40? No, we don't need it. But if Cena is coming back for a match, and right now I have no idea if he's going to be back. If he's going to be available for WrestleMania, we don't know. If he is, Solo Sikoa is the one running around with Paul Heyman saying that he retired John Cena. So if John Cena came back, the obvious opponent is Solo Sikoa. So if he is back, that's the match they're going to do. I don't know that John Cena will be at WrestleMania, though. We don't know yet. Halloween guy is back here. Cody and Punk stand tall at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 20 ending. No. If we get Rollins and Punk and we get Cody and Roman, Cody beats Roman and wins the title. Rollins beats Punk and retains the World Heavyweight title. That's the way it's going to go. And then if their goal is to do Punk and Roman and maybe do that at SummerSlam, then they've got to figure something out as far as how they get them on the same brand. That could be where the draft comes into play. Right? Can you imagine Adam Pearce signed CM Punk to a big exclusive Monday Night Raw contract in December, and then by May he gets drafted over to SmackDown? But that's how it goes. Cody beats Roman, Rollins beats Punk. And that would be your 2 title matches at WrestleMania. Zachariah, thank you for the $1.99. One last yeet for the ones in the back. Rest in peace. And Zachariah says, that's why Christian holds the title the way that he does. Because it's small. Base Beerus, Tammy Sitch is the devil in AEW. You could have just ended the super chat after the word devil. Tammy Sitch is the devil. You don't have to say in AEW. Plus, the devil is small. So we know it's not Tammy Sitch. The Winston Slip says Seth needs to lose the title ASAP. Well, that's not going to happen. You better get used to it, brother. The belt is not leaving his shoulder or his waist for a while. Seth should lose to Drew, but won't. Well, let's game that out. Drew beats Seth at the Royal Rumble, wins the world title. Punk and Rollins have a match anyway at WrestleMania, which is for no title. Drew defends the title against Sami Zayn. That could be one direction too. Do I think they're going to do that? I don't. But it would then tie in with Sami wanting to win the world title, saying, I can be a world champion, right? You could do that story. I think though you want to take your time with that story with Sami. The other issue I have with that is Drew McIntyre against Sami Zayn is not closing out either night of WrestleMania. So if you're going to do Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, it's either opening the show or you're putting it on like second from last. It's not even going to headline the show. Like that to me, it's just not a WrestleMania main event. I'm sorry. It's just not. Be a great match, but I don't see that as being the marquee match they would want to close out either night of WrestleMania with. But you could do that. In theory, you could do Rollins and Punk not for a belt, put the belt on Drew, have Drew defend against Sami, and have Sami go over at WrestleMania. And then have Sami hold the belt until SummerSlam or Bash in Berlin, and then drop the belt to Gunther. So Sami gets, he gets a good 6 months, 5 or 6 months as the champion. And not everybody has to be champion for a year or more. Roman Reigns has been champion for 3 years. MJF has been champion in AEW for over a year. Not everybody needs to be champion for a year. Sami could win the belt at WrestleMania and he could drop it at SummerSlam, and that's okay. And Phil Dog makes a very good point. Don't forget, the wild card here is that Damian Priest still has his Money in the Bank contract. So you do Drew and Sami at WrestleMania. Sami wins the title. Finally, he got his big moment. He proved that he could be a world champion. And then here comes Damian Priest. And he cashes in and he takes the title away from Sami Zayn. Poor Sami. Dr. Bropio, just watch Punk's return promo. I thought it was good. Don't know why people are hating on it. SMH, LOL. Base beer, Seth beats Punk with the pedigree. WWE wins again. As Triple H cracks a smile from backstage. That would be a very WWE thing to do, wouldn't it? Mr. Cardinal, you talking about Oscar Pistorius? Which Oscar are you talking about? Anyway, we could sit here fantasy booking WrestleMania and SummerSlam all night long. Some good ideas here. Imagine Damian cashes in on Punk. Mega heat. Well, that's Alberto Del Dipshit cashed in on Punk at SummerSlam in 2011 after Triple H powerbombed him. Wouldn't be the first time Punk has been cashed in on. All right, I'll see you guys on Wednesday night. We will talk about Dynamite, hang out, and have some more fun. Until then, be well, stay safe. If you missed episode 837 of the podcast, almost 2 hours long, a lot of ground covered. Not all of it here on the channel, so make sure you go check out the full show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker. Download the app, it's free. And come on back here on Wednesday night, and we will talk about AEW Dynamite. Until then, have a good night, guys.